Hey guys, welcome to my channel. I'm Rashi Hamalio and today I'm reviewing for you Huda Beauty's newest Luminous Matte Foundation, which is the reformulated version of her original Faux filter foundation. The new version does not have fragrance, yes, and it also doesn't have any denatured alcohol, which is amazing. So I've been trying out this foundation for some time. I'm going to give you a full review, show you how this applies, some tips on how to use this foundation and make it work for you, as well as will I be buying it at the end of the day, because I've been trying it out using the 2 samples that I got from Sephora. So let's jump into the application first. The samples of the Huda Beauty foundation that I got was 300N and 320G, which are the first 2 swatches there on my hand. Now, I can wear both of these foundations. I don't particularly like 300N. I find that that neutral undertone is perhaps a little bit too neutral for me, and then 320G is just a little bit too warm. And I'm looking for something that is similar to the Dior 3 Warm Olive. So unfortunately, I didn't get a sample of 310G. I do believe I would be a better match to 310 than either of the 300 or 320. Okay, so I have already color corrected, and for my shade today I'm going to be using 320G with golden undertones. Many of us experiencing foundations looking very dry around the mouth area, because I'm around the mouth area, often you can develop some dryness, some dehydration. And what I recommend with this foundation is that you just want to make sure that you prep your skin really well, that you use really hydrating moisturizer underneath before you go in with your foundation, and that way it's not going to look dry around that mouth area as the day progresses. The texture of this foundation is interesting. It is quite thick. It's a little bit tacky and definitely thick. So I'm going to apply about this much, because I do want to show you the coverage. So I've got a good amount dotted all over my face, and I'm going to go ahead and blend this out with the Hourglass foundation brush. I'm going to start with my forehead. And you can see as I'm blending it out, this foundation is a little bit hard to blend. It doesn't quite blend as seamlessly as some of my other foundations. I do have to work just a little bit harder to make sure that this blends out. And so I wouldn't say this is a foundation that's a very quick and easy application. You've got to take that time and make sure that you've got it nicely blended. Otherwise, you might be left with a patch on your skin, and later on you might say, ooh, that area, I didn't blend that, damn. So the good news is it doesn't cling to the dry patch on my forehead too much, just a little bit, just like some of my other foundations, but definitely not a lot, which is great. I love that. And now I'm just going to blend with the rest of my face. So you can see how it drags a little bit, and that's just because the foundation is quite thick. And even though my skin is moisturized and well prepped, even then, it just takes a little bit of pressure to really get this to blend into the skin. So I'm just coming in so you can see what this foundation looks like a little bit up close. It looks pretty smooth on the skin, minimal clinginess into my dry patch on my forehead. I can't see much of it, and then very minimal settling into my pores, which is good. Otherwise, it's a very good, smooth finish. And in terms of coverage, it's got great coverage as well. Now, the finish I've got at the moment, because I had prepped my skin with hydrating ingredients, I've got a bit of a natural finish. It's not dewy and it's not matte, so it's right in that gray area between natural to matte, because the foundation itself has more of a matte finish. However, if you pair it with hydrating products underneath, you can manipulate that finish a little bit. This is what my foundation looks like, just coming in a little bit closer. It looks really good. Definitely medium plus coverage that I've got here today. So let's have a chat about this foundation, and of course I will be doing a wear test with this. Right now it's about 11 in the morning, so I will come back in the evening to update you guys on how this foundation wears. Now, of course, I have been using this foundation and I've been wearing it continuously, and I haven't had any issues in terms of breakouts, which is great. Sometimes when you use that foundation and you use it every day, it can break you out, and I'm really happy to say that this foundation did not break me out. And I'm also very, very happy that Huda decided to remove fragrance from this product, and which was the reason I wanted to try out this foundation now. Before, I wasn't really interested because I have her powder, the fragrance is very strong, and I did not want the same thing for my foundation. So I'm very happy this is now fragrance free. The foundation has pretty strong coverage, right? So what I put on today is, I'm gonna say, medium plus coverage. It's still not full coverage. So if I had layered on more product, absolutely I could take this foundation up to full coverage, but I think this is already more than enough foundation for me. So I've stuck with about a medium, slightly medium plus coverage here. And the foundation looks really good. It looks really smoothing over the skin. It has concealed some of my blemishes. It's quite friendly over texture, so I do have some cheek texture and it's not standing out. It's actually smooth over that texture, which I really appreciate. The dry patch on my forehead, you really can't see much of it. There's only a little bit of clinginess to that dry patch, but it's so minimal, it really doesn't bother me. And in terms of settling into pores, I wouldn't say this is a super smoothing formula for the pores. If you're really concerned about your enlarged pores, I recommend you use a primer underneath and then go over this foundation, but it doesn't look bad at all. Like, trust me, it really doesn't. My pores look pretty good. And at the moment, it hasn't settled into the fine line around my mouth, but I can tell you from previous use that it does settle in my laugh lines throughout the day. And all I would have to do is tap at my laugh lines to remove that settling. And really, that's about it. Of course, all foundations I've ever tried always settle in my laugh lines, so that's not a big deal. I can't really say whether this is Luminous matte or not. I think that it doesn't look like a flat matte, that's for sure. It doesn't look like a flat matte finish, but it's a matte that looks flattering. So Luminous matte, sure. Also, this has a non-cakey finish. So on the website, I had a look at the Luminous matte description and it talked about having a non-cakey finish. I agree with that. With using it for medium plus coverage, I haven't found this foundation to be cakey at all on my face, which is fantastic. Now, it says it's transfer proof. It's not transfer proof. If I was to pat my face with a tissue paper throughout the day, for example, to blot my oily areas, some of that foundation will come off. So it's definitely not transfer proof. Now, this interesting thing, it says here that the foundation is sweat proof. So I've actually tested that out. I don't have the footage to show you because I didn't film it. But one of the days when I had this foundation on, I actually went for a gym workout after work. So I had it in the morning. I went to work. Foundation looked great. Then after work, I went for a gym session and I did sweat a lot. And I can tell you that the foundation did not break up on me. So it's some oil production there. Some of my natural oils had come through. Of course, I was sweating. But the foundation definitely did not break up on me at all. It stayed intact even after the gym. So sweat proof, I'm going to say it's pretty close to that claim. Yeah, I think I agree. It says fade proof as well. Now, fade proof just means whether it's long lasting, and it is absolutely long lasting. So I'll do a wear test for you guys today so you can see how this foundation performs at the end of the day. Just looking at the ingredient list, I'm very, very happy to say that this foundation does not have denatured alcohol and of course does not have any fragrance. It does have that standard alcohol, but it's really right at the bottom of the list, so I am not concerned about that. Now, there was something very interesting I noticed with this foundation. If you apply a matte blush, for example, right on top. So I'm used to, with the foundations that I have, I'm very much used to not powdering my face completely. I only ever powder the middle of my forehead and sort of this cheek area around my mouth because of the laugh lines, and that is it. I never powder the sides of my face. And what I always do is I just go in with my matte blush and I apply it directly on top of that foundation. That is my normal routine with all the foundations that I have. Now, when I tried that with this foundation, whew, that matte blush just looked patchy straight away. The foundation is slightly tacky, so if when you apply those drier powder textures, it just kind of clings and it looks patchy. And then I was like, oh shit, it looks patchy. Damn, and I'm heading out into work right now. I don't have time to fix this. But wait a minute, maybe there's just an easy fix. And there is. So how to really fix that is just using something like a big kabuki brush. I love the one from e.l.f. This is the one, I've got two of these because I really love them. And all you need to do is just buff out that blush with a brush like this and the patchiness is gone. So at least I'm happy to say that yes, it's a bit of a downside that it gives you that patchiness from drier powder formulas. However, if you do use a fluffy brush like this, just to smooth that powder application out, you'll be fine. Of course, the other option is to use powder over your cheeks and then go in with the powder blush application, and then in that case it will not cling. My makeup looks so much better when the sun goes away, right? Because otherwise everything just gets washed out. This foundation has a lot of pros and a few cons, but the cons I believe aren't major. So the cons are some things that you can work with. You just need to learn how to use this foundation, and really that's about it. That's what I found with it. So I really like this foundation, but the big question is, will I be buying it? Because after all, I only got the samples to try out. So I'm going to be answering that question towards the end of the day when I've shown you how this foundation wears throughout the day. Hey guys, so it's been 9 hours and this is what the foundation looks like. Now it did get oily throughout the day, so I'm just going to put a little bit of footage here that I took with my cell phone, just with a selfie camera, and you can see that this is at the 3-hour mark and my skin looks very dewy. It definitely got very oily on me. Now keep that in mind that here today was a very hot day. I also had a lot of moisturizing, hydrating products as my skin prep, so it kind of makes sense that some of those oils would come through. However, the foundation didn't break up at all. You can see from that footage, the foundation, even though I was very shiny, the foundation was intact. And then throughout the day, I've only blotted once with a tissue paper. I didn't apply any powder, and that was only about 2 hours ago. And this is what my skin looks like right now. I'm just gonna come in close up. So I'm just going to go ahead and add some powder, which is going to remove some of the shine. So as you can see, the foundation has long wear. Absolutely, it hasn't broken up on me at all whatsoever. I think the only area where this foundation doesn't look its best is really that around that mouth area, where for me it looks just a teeny tiny bit dry. Again, not a big deal, and especially after 9 hours, I think that's okay. For 9 hours, this has worn extremely well, and I don't see any areas of my face, not even around my nose, that this foundation has broken up. Nothing like that. So, am I going to buy it though? I am gonna say not right now. Right now, I already have my Dior matte foundation and my Estee Lauder double wear. Both of those foundations I love very much, and I have a full bottle of those, so there's no need for me to spend money on another matte foundation. So for me, I'm not going to buy it, but definitely I can see myself buying this foundation in future. I hope you guys enjoyed this review video. If you did, hit that like button, and I will see you guys in my next video. See ya!